Ladies and gentlemen, we are living through a period that will be defined in history not by the pace of growth, but by the geography of retreat. Retreat from interdependence, retreat from open markets, retreat from multilateral norms. Protectionism, once an anomaly, has now become a strategic instrument. It's being deployed not only to protect domestic industries, but to reconfigure power. We see this in tariffs, in reshoring strategies, in supply chain realignments, and in the growing politicization of trade policy. For Arab economies, this shift poses existential questions. Our economic models heavily reliant on global demand, external capital, and traditional exports were not designed for a world where those flows are disrupted, restricted, or reprioritized. Let's begin with what the data shows. In 2024, global oil demand grew by less than 1%. This is not cyclical, but rather structural, as OECD economies push toward decarbonization and China diversifies its energy mix. Hydrocarbon-based revenue models face diminishing returns. Yeah, that's a fact. Meanwhile, Arab non-oil exporters like Morocco, Egypt, Jordan are suffering from increased trade barriers, tighter European standards, and declining remittance flows from diaspora communities abroad. Combined, these factors are not only temporary headwinds, they represent a foundational challenge to external dependence models. If protectionism continues to harden and if global demand remains fragmented, Arab economies, unless they adapt to these shifts, will not only experience lower growth, they will be locked out of the next phase of global transformation. There is no time for marginal or superficial reforms. The current changes call for a comprehensive restructuring of the economic system. This is emphasized in the published reports of the Arab Center for Learning and Future Studies in the Arab Federation for Digital Economy, which identified three main strategic pathways to achieve this transformation. The first of which being regional economic integration. The intra-Arab trade percentage does not exceed today 13%, an unsustainable level for a region of 400 million people with shared logistics, language, and institutions. In this context, economic integration is no longer a political aspiration, but a strategic necessity to build an effective market bloc, supply chain resilience, and bargaining power in a fragmented global economy. However, while these steps represent the foundation, they are not sufficient on their own. Effective integration also requires coordinating industrial policies, activating joint financing mechanisms for cross-border projects, and developing transport and distribution networks that genuinely connect Arab markets with each other. Without this, we remain exposed, individually vulnerable, and collectively underperforming. The second point is related to exporter structure diversification. Our economies must move decisively toward high-value exports. This means prioritizing clean energy, advanced manufacturing, and digital technologies, not merely as innovation zones, but as pillars of foreign earnings and job creation. The UAE's push into green hydrogen and Morocco's ascent in EV supply chains represent promising models for what Arab exports could look like in the future, but these examples must become a region-wide standard, not exceptions. The third point is about human capital conversion. Economic diversification cannot succeed without workforce transformation, Arab economies continue to underinvest in technical and vocational education, digital skills development, and private sector job absorption mechanisms. The transition from a resource-based economy to a knowledge economy depends on this conversion. Without it, we will build infrastructure without capacity and policies without execution. Let's be clear, these transitions we are talking about are not guaranteed or simple pathways. They require political alignment, institutional reform and strategic plans. But the alternative is not stability, it's a decline by inertia. If Arab economies continue to rely on external markets that are turning inward, if they fail to capture regional synergies, and if they allow the future industries to develop elsewhere, then the region will miss not just growth but relevance. Also their foothold in the new global economic landscape. The global economic map has been redrawn, driven by economic necessity, influenced by the political and ideological choices that guide these transformations. Those who adapt fastest will anchor supply chains, shape standards and influence governance. Those who will delay will surely pay for solutions they could have built by themselves. So coming to the end of my speech, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a moment for rhetorical ambition. It's a moment for strategic realism. Globalization as we knew it is not returning, but a new system is emerging based on regional blocks, technological sovereignty and strategic selectivity. The question for Arab economies is simple. Will we adapt fast enough to matter, or will we become just observers of the global game? The next decade will surely answer these questions. Thank you very much.